First contact, an unexpected arrival. The night sky over the New Mexico desert blazed with streaks of light as the annual Poseid meteor shower reached its peak. Dr. Elara Vega, a brilliant young astrophysicist, stood transfixed beside her array of telescopes and sensors. Her dark eyes sparkled with childlike wonder as she tracked the celestial light show, mentally calculating trajectories and composition. Suddenly, an anomaly caught her attention. One of the streaks wasn't behaving like the others. Instead of burning out in the upper atmosphere, it was growing larger, its trajectory shifting in ways that defied natural law. "That's no meteor," Elara muttered, her heart racing. She quickly adjusted her equipment, focusing all sensors on the approaching object. The readings were unlike anything she'd ever seen before. As the object neared, its descent slowed dramatically. It was clearly under some form of controlled flight. With a thunderous boom that echoed across the desert, it impacted the earth several miles from Elara's position. Without hesitation, she threw her equipment into her rugged SUV and set off toward the impact site. Her mind whirled with possibilities. Could this be the moment scientists had dreamed of for centuries? First contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. As she neared the crash site, Elara's headlights illuminated a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. A sleek, silver craft lay half buried in the sand, its hull still glowing from the heat of entry. Strange, pulsing symbols adorned its surface. Approaching cautiously, Elara's scientific training warred with her instinct for self-preservation. The rational part of her brain screamed that she should call this in, wait for backup. But the explorer in her, the part that had driven her to study the stars in the first place, pushed her forward. As she drew closer, a section of the craft's hull seemed to liquefy, forming an opening. Elara held her breath, unsure of what to expect. To her amazement, a small figure stumbled out, clearly disoriented. It took her a moment to process what she was seeing. The figure was humanoid, but clearly not human. Standing no taller than a child, its skin was a pale, iridescent blue. Large, almond-shaped eyes reflected the starlight, and delicate, fin-like structures adorned its head where hair would be on a human. The alien took a few unsteady steps before collapsing onto the desert's sand. Without thinking, Elara rushed forward, her instinct to help overriding any fear or caution. As she reached the fallen figure, she could see it was injured. A viscous, silvery fluid was seeping from a gash on its arm. The alien's eyes, a swirling mix of deep purple and silver, locked onto Elara's face. In that moment, she felt a connection that transcended species, a shared recognition of sentience and need. "It's okay," Elara said softly, knowing her words wouldn't be understood, but hoping her tone would convey her intent. "I'm here to help." To her astonishment, the alien's eyes seemed to glow brighter, and a voice echoed in Elara's mind. The words were unclear, like trying to understand a conversation underwater, but the sentiment was unmistakable, gratitude and a plea for help. Elara gently lifted the alien, surprised by how light it was. As she carried it to her vehicle, the craft behind them began to shimmer and fade, as if it was being erased from existence. Within moments, there was no trace of it ever having been there. "Well," Elara said to her unconscious passenger as she started the engine, "I guess we're in this together now." As she drove back towards civilization, Elara's mind raced with questions. Who was this alien? Where had it come from? And most pressingly, what was she going to do now? She couldn't exactly walk into an ER with an extraterrestrial. Her decision was made for her as she glanced at her passenger. The alien child, for she was now certain it was indeed a child, was beginning to stir. Those mesmerizing eyes fluttered open, focusing on Elara with an intensity that made her feel as if her very soul was being examined. Suddenly, Elara's head was filled with a cascade of images and emotions. She saw a world of crystalline spires and purple skies, felt the warmth of what must have been the alien's family, and then terror. A great darkness descending, screams, a desperate flight. Gasping, Ilara pulled the car over, her hands shaking on the steering wheel. The alien child reached out, placing a delicate, three-fingered hand on Ilara's arm. The touch was electric, and in that moment, Ilara knew her life would never be the same. "You're safe now," she said, surprising herself with the fierce protectiveness in her voice. "I don't know how, but I'm going to keep you safe." The alien smiled, an expression so heartbreakingly familiar on a face so alien, and Ilara felt a wave of trust and hope wash over her. She realized it wasn't just her own emotions she was feeling, but those of her new companion. As dawn broke over the desert, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Ilara made a decision that would alter the course of human history. She wouldn't report this, not yet. She needed to understand more, to protect this child who had literally fallen from the stars. Turning the car around, she headed not towards her lab or any government facility, but towards the small cabin she kept as a weekend getaway in the mountains. It was remote, off-grid, and the perfect place to hide an alien while she figured out their next move. As they drove, Ilara began to talk, explaining about Earth, about humans, about herself. She had no idea how much, if any, the alien understood, but it seemed to calm them both. The alien, in turn, began to project more images and feelings. Ilara saw glimpses of advanced technology, of a civilization that spanned the stars, and of a terrible conflict that threatened to consume it all. By the time they reached the cabin, Ilara had pieced together a fractured understanding of her companion's situation. The alien, whom she had started mentally referring to as Nova for the brilliant, star-like quality of their eyes, was a refugee. Their civilization, far more advanced than humanity's, was embroiled in a war that spanned galaxies. Nova had been sent away for protection, though from what exactly, Ilara couldn't quite grasp. As she helped Nova into the cabin, Ilara's scientific mind was already cataloging the differences and similarities between their physiologies. Nova's wounds seemed to be healing at an accelerated rate, the silvery fluid that served as blood already clotting and new skin forming. "You're amazing," Ilara breathed, her excitement as a scientist warring with her growing affection for this lost child of the stars. Nova tilted their head, and Ilara felt a wave of curiosity and warmth wash over her. She realized that just as she was studying Nova, Nova was studying her, two species meeting for the first time, each marveling at the other. As she settled Nova onto the couch and began to gather supplies to clean and bandage the remaining wounds, Ilara's mind whirled with the implications of what was happening. She, a simple scientist from Earth, was now the custodian of what might be the most important secret in human history. And more than that, she was the protector of a child who might very well be the key to humanity's future among the stars. "Well, Nova," she said, smiling at her alien charge, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Nova's answering smile was like the dawn of a new era, full of promise and wonder. As Ilara began to treat Nova's wounds, she knew that her life, and potentially the fate of two civilizations, had been irrevocably changed. The future was uncertain, filled with danger and marvels beyond imagination, but in that moment, in a small cabin in the mountains of Earth, a human and an alien forged a bond that would shape the very foundations of the cosmos. The adventure had only just begun. As the days passed, Ilara and Nova fell into a routine of sorts. Mornings were spent on language lessons, with Nova picking up English at an astonishing rate. Afternoons were devoted to what Ilara had begun to think of as power practice, helping Nova learn to control their abilities. It was during one of these sessions, as Nova effortlessly levitated a boulder the size of a car, that Ilara had a breakthrough. "Nova," she said slowly, an idea forming, "can you show me more about the ones who attacked your world?" The alien child hesitated, fear flickering in their starlight eyes. But then, with a resolve that belied their young age, they nodded. The images that flooded Ilara's mind were terrifying in their clarity. She saw beings of shadow and smoke, their forms constantly shifting. They commanded ships that seemed to devour light itself, weapons that tore holes in the fabric of reality. The Void Collective. Nova's voice echoed in her mind, the first time Elara had heard actual words from her alien companion. As the vision faded, Elara found herself on her knees, gasping for breath. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just an alien war, it was a battle for the very nature of existence. Why? Elara managed to ask. Why are they doing this? Nova's answer came not in words, but in concepts too vast for human language to fully capture. The Void Collective sought to remake the universe in their image, to plunge all of creation into a darkness from which there would be no escape. And Nova's people, with their mastery of light and energy, were the only ones who stood a chance of stopping them. As night fell, Elara sat on the cabin's porch, staring up at the stars with new eyes. Somewhere out there, a war raged that would determine the fate of everything. And here, in a tiny cabin on a backwater planet, she was harboring perhaps the galaxy's last hope. A soft touch on her arm broke Elara from her reverie. Nova stood beside her, their eyes reflecting the starlight above. In that moment, a wordless understanding passed between them. Whatever came next, they would face it together. As if in response to their silent pact, the night sky above them erupted in a dazzling display of shooting stars. But Elara knew better now. Those weren't meteors streaking across the heavens. The war had come to Earth, and they were woefully unprepared. "We need to move," Elara said, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. But where could they go that was safe from an interstellar invasion? Nova's eyes glimmered with an idea, and suddenly Elara's mind was filled with images of underground bunkers and hidden cities. But these weren't human constructions. They were remnants of an ancient outpost on Earth, long abandoned and forgotten. "You're telling me there's been an alien base on our planet this whole time?" Elara gasped, her worldview shifting yet again. Nova nodded, projecting a map into Elara's mind. The base was located deep beneath the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans. It was a place so inaccessible and inhospitable that it had remained hidden from human discovery for millennia. As they hastily packed supplies, Elara's analytical mind raced. "But how will we get there? We can't exactly book a deep-sea expedition with the world about to be invaded." Nova's response came in the form of a shimmering energy field that enveloped them both. Elara felt a tingling sensation, like static electricity dancing across her skin. Before she could voice her questions, the cabin around them began to blur and fade. Quantum tunneling, Elara realized, her scientific knowledge struggling to keep up with the reality of what was happening. They weren't just teleporting, they were facing through the very fabric of space-time itself. The journey lasted both an eternity and no time at all. When the energy field dissipated, Elara found herself standing in a vast, dimly lit chamber. Strange, organic-looking technology pulsed with soft bioluminescence, casting eerie shadows on curved walls that seemed to be made of living crystal. "Welcome to Atlantis," Nova's voice echoed in her mind, a hint of amusement coloring the thought. Elara's jaw dropped. "You mean the myths were true? Atlantis was an alien base all along?" Nova shook their head, projecting images of ancient humans discovering the outpost, misunderstanding its purpose, and weaving legends around it. The real Atlantis was far more incredible than any human myth. As they explored, Elara's awe grew. The technology here was beyond anything she could have imagined. Holographic displays showed real-time images of the Void Collective ships entering Earth's atmosphere. Another screen depicted a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with pulsing red areas indicating ongoing conflicts. "We need to warn people," Elara said, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "But how? Who would believe us?" Nova's answer came in the form of a sleek, metallic orb that floated up from a nearby console. As it approached, it projected a holographic image of a stern-looking woman with features that seemed to shift between human and alien. "Greetings, Nova of the Astrali and Dr. Elara Vega of Earth," the figure said, its voice resonating with authority. I am the custodian eye of this outpost. My senses have detected the approach of the Void Collective. Protocol dictates that I awaken the quantum rebels. Quantum rebels? Ilara asked, feeling like she had stumbled into a science fiction novel. The A's image flickered, showing scenes of diverse alien species working together, wielding technology that seemed to bend reality itself. A coalition of resistance fighters from across the galaxy, hidden in stasis here on Earth. They are our last line of defense against the Void Collective. As if on cue, pods began to emerge from the crystalline walls, their surfaces frosting over as the stasis fields deactivated. One by one, beings of various shapes, sizes, and colors stepped out, shaking off the effects of their long sleep. A towering four-armed being with iridescent scales approached them. "I am Commander Zix of the Quantum Rebels," it said, its voice a melodious trill. "We have slumbered for eons, waiting for this moment. The Astrali child's presence has awakened us, as the prophecy foretold." Ilara's head spun. Prophecies. Quantum rebels. Ancient alien bases. It was almost too much to process. But as she looked at Nova, seeing the mix of hope and determination in those starlit eyes, she knew that this was real. And more importantly, she knew that she had a role to play in this cosmic drama. "What can I do to help?" Ilara asked, straightening her back and meeting Commander Zix's multifaceted gaze. The alien commander smiled, a gesture that was both familiar and utterly alien. "You, Dr. Vega, are the bridge between our worlds. Your understanding of Earth's defenses, combined with your bond with Nova, makes you invaluable to our cause." As the quantum rebels bustled around them, preparing for the coming battle, Ilara felt a tugging sensation in her mind. Nova was projecting again, but this time it wasn't just images or emotions. It was knowledge. Pure, undiluted understanding of cosmic principles that humanity had barely begun to grasp. Quantum entanglement on a galactic scale, Ilara breathed, her mind expanding to encompass concepts that would revolutionize human science. "We can use this to communicate instantly across light years, to coordinate our defenses." Commander Zix nodded approvingly. "The Astrali gift of knowledge. Use it wisely, Dr. Vega. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy may rest on what we do in the coming days." As alarms began to blare throughout the base, signaling the Void Collective's approach, Ilara took a deep breath. She looked at Nova, then at the assembled quantum rebels, each a testament to the diversity and resilience of life in the cosmos. "All right," she said, her voice steady and determined. "Let's save the universe." The battle for Earth, and the very nature of reality itself, was about to begin, and at its heart stood an unlikely trio: a human scientist, an alien child, and an ancient AI, each holding a piece of the puzzle that could turn the tide against an intergalactic war. As the first shots of the invasion lit up the sky far above their underwater sanctuary, Ilara realized that this was more than just a fight for survival. It was a battle for the very soul of the cosmos, a chance to prove that light could triumph over darkness, that cooperation could overcome destruction. The quantum chess game had begun, with Earth as its board and the fate of all existence hanging in the balance. The quantum uprising. As the Void Collective's invasion fleet descended upon Earth, Dr. Ilara Vega found herself at the heart of humanity's most crucial moment. The hidden base of Atlantis, nestled deep beneath the Mariana Trench, hummed with frenetic energy as the quantum rebels prepared for the impending battle. Ilara stood before a holographic war table, her mind racing to process the influx of cosmic knowledge Nova had shared with her. Beside her, the young Astrali's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, projecting real-time data about the Void Collective's forces. "They're not just attacking our physical realm," Ilara realized, her voice tinged with awe and fear. "They're launching an assault on multiple dimensions simultaneously." Commander Zix nodded gravely, its iridescent scales shimmering under the bioluminescent lights. "The Void Collective seeks to unravel the very fabric of reality. We must defend not just in three-dimensional space, but across all 11 dimensions of existence. Suddenly, the base shook violently. Alarms blared as cracks appeared in the crystalline walls, dark energy seeping through like tendrils of malevolent smoke. "They've breached our quantum shielding," a multi-eyed alien technician shouted, its tentacles flying over a series of glowing orbs. Ilara's scientific mind struggled to keep up with the impossible scenario unfolding before her. How can we fight an enemy that's attacking from dimensions we can't even perceive? Nova's voice echoed in her mind, accompanied by a series of complex equations and conceptual models. Consciousness is the key. Our minds are the only thing that can traverse all dimensions freely. The Custodian A's holographic form flickered to life beside them. Nova is correct. We must unite our consciousness to create a hyperdimensional defense network, a consciousness collective. A consciousness collective. Ilara breathed, the concept both thrilling and terrifying. But how? Commander Zix gestured to a series of pods emerging from the floor. These synaptic synchronizers will allow us to merge our minds into a single, unified consciousness. It's risky. We could lose our individual identities in the process. But it's our only hope of repelling the Void Collective's assault. As the aliens around her began to enter the pods, Ilara hesitated. The scientist in her marveled at the opportunity to experience something beyond human comprehension, but the human in her feared losing herself in the cosmic consciousness. Nova took her hand, those starlit eyes filled with understanding and encouragement. In that moment, Ilara knew what she had to do. "Let's save reality," she said, stepping into one of the pods. As the synaptic synchronizer activated, Ilara felt her consciousness expand beyond the confines of her physical form. She was everywhere and everyone at once, her mind merging with those of the quantum rebels, Nova, and even the Custodian A. In this state of hyperconsciousness, Ilara could perceive the true nature of the Void Collector's attack. They weren't just ships and weapons. They were manifestations of entropy itself, seeking to drag all of existence into a state of eternal, unchanging darkness. But the Consciousness Collective was a force of creation, of dynamic change and growth. As one unified mind, they began to weave a defense that spanned all dimensions of reality. Ilara, drawing on her human capacity for innovation and adaptability, conceptualized new forms of quantum shielding. Nova's astrali heritage allowed them to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe, creating barriers of pure energy. The other aliens contributed their unique perspectives and abilities, each adding a layer to their multi-dimensional defense. In the physical world, their bodies remained in the pods, but their unified consciousness soared through higher dimensions, engaging the Void Collective in ways that defied conventional understanding of combat. They fought with ideas given form, with the power of collective will made manifest. Mathematical equations became weapons, theoretical physics transformed into shields, and the very concepts of light and dark clashed in a spectacular display of cosmic fireworks. As the battle raged across dimensions, Ilara became aware of a dark presence at the heart of the Void Collective, an ancient, malevolent intelligence that sought not just conquest, but the complete annihilation of all that was, is, and could be. It's the Omega Entropy, the collective knowledge of the quantum rebels supplied, the embodiment of the universe's desire to return to a state of perfect, unchanging stillness. Facing this cosmic force of destruction, Ilara felt a moment of utter despair. How could they, even in this enhanced state, hope to defeat something so fundamental to the nature of existence? But then, from the depths of their collective consciousness, a new idea emerged, not from any single individual, but from the synergy of their combined perspectives. "We don't need to destroy the Omega Entropy," the thought reverberated through their shared mind. "We need to embrace it, to show it that change and growth are essential parts of existence." With this realization, the Consciousness Collective shifted its strategy. Instead of fighting against the Void Collective, they began to integrate its energy, channeling the force of entropy into a cycle of cosmic renewal. The battlefield of reality itself began to shift. Where once there was only conflict, new possibilities blossomed. Stars were born from the remnants of destroyed planets. New dimensions unfolded from the chaos of the old, and the very concepts of light and dark began to dance in a harmony of eternal balance. As the Omega Entropy found itself part of this new cycle of creation and destruction, its purpose transformed. The Void Collective, without its driving force, began to dissipate across the dimensions. Slowly, Ilara felt her individual consciousness reforming as the synaptic synchronizers powered down. She stumbled out of the pod, her human mind struggling to process the cosmic events she had just experienced. Nova was there to catch her, those alien eyes filled with a mix of joy and sorrow. They had won, but the victory had come at a cost. The universe would never be the same, and neither would they. As the quantum rebels emerged from their pods, forever changed by their experience, Ilara looked around the Atlantis base with new eyes. The cracks in the walls were gone, replaced by swirling patterns that seemed to capture the essence of their multi-dimensional battle. "What happens now?" she asked, her voice hoarse from disuse. Commander Zix, its scales now shimmering with an inner light that hadn't been there before, smiled. "Now, Dr. Vega, we rebuild. Not just Earth, not just our individual worlds, but the very fabric of reality itself. And you, as the bridge between humanity and the cosmos, will play a crucial role in shaping the new universal order." As Ilara absorbed the magnitude of what had occurred and what was yet to come, she felt a tugging at her hand. Nova was projecting an image into her mind, a vision of Earth, no longer a solitary blue marble in space, but a shining beacon in a vast, interconnected network of worlds and dimensions. The war was over, but their true journey was just beginning. The cosmos awaited, full of wonders and challenges beyond imagination. And Ilara, once a simple astrobiologist, now stood at the threshold of a new era for all of existence. With Nova by her side and the knowledge of the cosmos in her mind, she took her first step into the hyperdimensional future that awaited them all, the cosmic renaissance. As the dust settled on their reality-altering victory, Dr. Ilara Vega found herself at the center of a new galactic order. The Atlantis base, once hidden beneath Earth's oceans, now served as a hub for interstellar diplomacy and multi-dimensional research. Ilara, with her unique blend of human intuition and cosmic knowledge, had become Earth's ambassador to the stars. The quantum renaissance, she mused, standing before a holographic display of the known universe. The term had caught on quickly, describing the explosion of innovation and discovery that followed their victory over the Void Collective. Nova, now a teenager by Astrali standards, floated nearby, manipulating streams of data with graceful gestures. "The multiverse is stabilizing," they said, their mental voice resonating with excitement. "New dimensions are forming bridges between realities we never knew existed." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the base. Commander Zix burst into the room, its scales flashing with urgent patterns. "We're detecting a massive anomaly in the fabric of spacetime." The holographic display shifted, showing a swirling vortex of energy at the edge of the Milky Way. As they watched, the vortex expanded, revealing glimpses of other worlds, other versions of reality. "It's a multiverse nexus," Ilara breathed, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. "A convergence point where multiple universes intersect." Nova's eyes widened. "The nexus, it's calling to me. I think I was meant to go there." Before Ilara could respond, a new presence made itself known. A being of pure energy materialized in the center of the room, its form constantly shifting between humanoid and abstract geometric shapes. "Greetings, guardians of reality," the being's voice echoed in their minds. "I am the Nexus Curator, keeper of the multiverse's balance. Your recent actions have set in motion events that threaten the stability of all existence." Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite her awe. "We meant no harm. We were only trying to save our universe from the Void Collective." The curator's form flickered. Your intentions were noble, but the consequences far-reaching. The quantum renaissance has awakened dormant forces across the multiverse. Ancient beings, older than time itself, stir in the spaces between realities. Images flashed through their minds, vast, incomprehensible entities, each capable of devouring entire universes. The cosmic devourers, beings of such immense power that their mere thoughts could reshape reality. The Nexus has formed as a last defense, the curator continued. A focal point where the combined strength of all realities might stand against these awakened horrors. But to harness its power, we need a bridge, a being capable of connecting the infinite strands of the multiverse. All eyes turned to Nova, whose form now shimmered with an otherworldly light. The Astrali child, Commander Six said softly. The prophecy spoke of one who would unite the many. Ilara felt her heart clench. After everything they'd been through, the thought of losing Nova was almost unbearable. There has to be another way, she protested. The curator's form solidified, taking on a more humanoid appearance. There is no other way. But fear not, Dr. Vega. Your role in this cosmic drama is far from over. With a gesture, the curator opened a portal, revealing a vast chamber filled with swirling energies and impossible geometries. The Multiversal Council awaits. Representatives from every reality gathered to face this threat. They need a voice of reason, someone who understands both the cosmic and the human perspective. Ilara looked at Nova, tears forming in her eyes. The young Astrali smiled, projecting feelings of love and reassurance. This is what I was born for, Nova's mental voice whispered. But I couldn't have made it this far without you. As Nova stepped towards the Nexus, their form beginning to merge with the swirling energies, Ilara made her decision. She turned to the curator, her voice filled with determination. I'll join your council, but on one condition, we find a way to save Nova, to bring them back once this is over. The curator nodded solemnly. The path ahead is uncertain, but your bond may yet play a crucial role in the battles to come. With heavy hearts but resolute spirits, Ilara and Nova parted ways, one to become the heart of the multiverse nexus, the other to stand as humanity's voice in the greatest assembly of beings the cosmos had ever known. As Ilara stepped through the portal into the council chamber, she gasped. Beings of every conceivable form, and some inconceivable, filled the vast space. Some were recognizably alien, others were living constellations or sentient mathematical equations. At the center of it all stood a massive tree-like structure, its branches extending into different realities. This was Yggdrasil, the multiverse tree, a living supercomputer that connected all of existence. Welcome, Dr. Ilara Vega of Earth Prime, a chorus of voices echoed. The cosmic conclave is now in session. As Ilara took her place among the cosmic entities, she felt the weight of not just Earth, but all realities resting on her shoulders. The quantum renaissance had opened doors to wonders beyond imagination, but it had also awakened terrors that threatened the very fabric of existence. With Nova at the heart of the multiverse nexus and Ilara as the voice of humanity in the cosmic conclave, a new chapter in the history of the universe, no, the multiverse, was about to unfold. The battle against the cosmic devourers loomed, a war that would be fought not just across space and time, but across entire realities. And at its heart, the unbreakable bond between a human scientist and an alien child might just be the key to saving all of existence. As the conclave began its deliberations, Ilara squared her shoulders. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was ready to face them, for Nova, for Earth, and for the infinite realities that now depended on them. The quantum renaissance was about to enter its most crucial phase, and the fate of the multiverse hung in the balance. The fractal wars. Dr. Ilara Vega stood at the edge of reality itself, her mind struggling to comprehend the vastness of the cosmic conclave chamber. The Yggdrasil supercomputer pulsed with ethereal light, its branches reaching into infinite realities. As the human representative, Ilara felt both awed and overwhelmed by the responsibility thrust upon her. Suddenly, the chamber shuddered. The assembled cosmic entities murmured in alarm as a holographic projection materialized in the center of the room. It showed Nova, now a being of pure energy at the heart of the multiverse nexus, their form flickering erratically. The cosmic devourers, Nova's voice echoed, distorted and fragmented. They're not just awakening, they're evolving. The projection shifted, revealing a sight that sent chills through every being present. The cosmic devourers, once mimed as forces of destruction, were merging. Their combined consciousness was giving birth to something new, something terrifying. By the eternal cosmos, breathed an entity composed of living starlight. They're forming a sentient singularity. Ilara's scientific mind raced. A black hole with consciousness? Is that even possible? The curator's form shimmered into existence beside her. In the realm of infinite possibilities, Dr. Vega, the impossible becomes merely improbable. This sentient singularity threatens to consume not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself. As the conclave erupted into panicked debate, Ilara felt a familiar presence touch her mind. Nova, reaching out across the vast distances of the multiverse. Ilara, Nova's mental voice whispered, "I've discovered something. The multiverse, it's fractal in nature. Each reality is a smaller version of the whole, and each contains infinite smaller versions within it." Ilara's eyes widened as the implications hit her. If reality is fractal, then maybe we can use that to our advantage. She stepped forward, her voice ringing out across the chamber. "Esteemed members of the Cosmic Conclave, I have a proposal. We can't fight the sentient singularity directly, it's too powerful. But what if we could trap it in a fractal loop?" The chamber fell silent, all eyes turning to the human scientist. Encouraged, Ilara continued, her words painting a picture of an audacious plan. "We create a nested series of realities, each one a smaller version of our universe. We lure the sentient singularity into this fractal maze. As it consumes each layer, it'll find itself in an identical but smaller universe. It'll be trapped in an endless cycle, never able to reach our prime reality." The curator's form pulsed with excitement. "Brilliant, Dr. Vega. But creating such a complex fractal structure would require immense power and precision." "That's where I come in," Nova's voice resonated through the chamber. "As the heart of the multiverse nexus, I can weave the fractal realities, but I'll need help to maintain the structure." What followed was a flurry of activity unlike anything the multiverse had ever seen. Cosmic engineers and reality weavers from across existence came together, pooling their knowledge and power. Ilara found herself at the center of it all, her unique perspective bridging the gap between the cosmic and the quantum. As the plan took shape, a new threat emerged. The sentient singularity, sensing the danger, launched an all-out assault across the multiverse. Thus began the fractal wars, a conflict that raged across infinite nested realities. Ilara, once a simple astrobiologist, now found herself as a general in a multi-dimensional war. She coordinated with beings of pure thought, directed living constellations in battle, and strategized with entities that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. The fractal wars were like nothing conceivable to the human mind. Battles were fought not just with energy and matter, but with ideas and paradoxes. Entire realities were born and died in the space between moments. And through it all, Nova worked tirelessly, weaving the grand fractal trap that would be their salvation. As the conflict reached its climax, Ilara stood before the Yggdrasil supercomputer, streams of data flowing through her consciousness. She had long since transcended her physical form, her mind expanded to encompass the vastness of the multiverse. "Nova," she called out, her thoughts resonating across the cosmos. "It's time. The trap is ready." With a final, monumental effort, Nova activated the fractal maze. The multiverse folded in on itself, layers of reality nesting within each other like an infinite set of Russian dolls. The sentient singularity, in its hunger for consumption, plunged into the trap. As it devoured each layer of reality, it found itself in an identical but smaller universe, forever falling deeper into the fractal structure. As the danger passed, the assembled cosmic entities breathed a collective sigh of relief, but their victory came at a cost. The multiverse had been fundamentally altered, its structure now a complex web of nested realities. Ilara, her consciousness slowly returning to her human form, felt a bittersweet ache. They had saved existence itself, but at what price? And what of Nova, still merged with the multiverse nexus? As if in answer to her unspoken question, a familiar presence touched her mind. Nova's consciousness, vast and transformed, yet still recognizably them. "We did it, Ilara," Nova's thoughts whispered, "but our journey is far from over. The fractal multiverse needs guardians, beings who can navigate its infinite complexities." Ilara understood. This wasn't an ending, but a new beginning. The fractal wars had reshaped existence, and now they had the responsibility to shepherd this new cosmic order. As the cosmic conclave dissolved, its purpose fulfilled, Ilara found herself standing with the curator and Nova's energy form. The three of them, representatives of the past, present, and future of the multiverse. "The age of fractals begins," the curator intoned. "And with it, a new role for humanity. Dr. Vega, you and your kind have proven yourselves worthy guardians of reality. Will you accept the mantle of fractal keepers?" Ilara looked out at the swirling, nested layers of the new multiverse. She thought of Earth, of humanity, of the incredible journey that had led her to this moment. With a smile that contained both determination and wonder, she gave her answer. "We accept. Let the new age begin." And so, as the fractal multiverse unfolded around them, Ilara, Nova, and the beings of countless realities embarked on their greatest adventure yet. The fractal wars had ended, but the quest to explore, understand, and protect the infinite complexities of existence had only just begun. In the grand tapestry of the multiverse, a new pattern was emerging, one woven with threads of human ingenuity, alien wisdom, and the boundless potential of life in all its forms. And at its heart, the unbreakable bond between a human scientist and a cosmic child continued to shine, a beacon of hope for all realities. The quantum paradigm shift. As the fractal multiverse settled into its new configuration, Dr. Ilara Vega found herself at the forefront of a cosmic revolution. Earth, once an isolated planet on the galactic fringe, had become a nexus of multiversal importance. The mantle of fractal keepers bestowed upon humanity brought with it responsibilities and opportunities beyond imagination. Ilara stood in the newly christened quantum nexus, a sprawling complex that had replaced the hidden Atlantis base. Holographic displays surrounded her, each showing a different layer of nested reality within the fractal structure. "Initiating quantum entanglement with Earth Prime 2187, she announced, her voice steady despite the enormity of the task. With a gesture, she manipulated the quantum strings that connected alternate versions of Earth across the multiverse. Nova, now existing as a being of pure energy and consciousness, manifested beside her. Careful, Ilara. Too much synchronization could cause a cascading reality collapse. As they worked, Ilara marveled at how far they'd come. In the years since the fractal wars, humanity had undergone a transformation that defied conventional understanding. The knowledge gifted by the Astrali and the cosmic entities had catapulted Earth into a new era of existence. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the quantum nexus. Commander Zix, now augmented with multidimensional perception implants, burst into the room. "We're detecting a massive quantum anomaly in Sector Omega-9. The main holographic display shifted, revealing a terrifying sight. A tear in the fabric of reality was spreading across multiple layers of the fractal multiverse. Through the rift, glimpses of something ancient and horrifying could be seen. "Impossible," Ilara breathed. It's a primordial chaos entity. They shouldn't exist in our dimensional plane. Nova's energy form pulsed with concern. The fractal wars must have weakened the barriers between dimensional planes. If that entity fully manifests in our reality. Total multiversal collapse, Ilara finished, her mind racing with possibilities. The curator's avatar materialized, its expression grave. This threat is beyond anything we've faced before. The primordial chaos entities predate the concept of existence itself. Our conventional weapons and strategies will be useless. Ilara's eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. What if we don't fight it? What if we integrate it? All eyes turned to her, a mixture of confusion and intrigue on their faces. Explain, Dr. Vega, the curator urged. Ilara began pacing, her words tumbling out as the idea took shape. The multiverse is fractal, right? Self-similar patterns repeating at every scale. What if we use that property to our advantage? Instead of trying to expel the chaos entity, we make it a part of our fractal structure. Nova's energy form brightened with understanding. A controlled chaos integration. We could use the entity's own nature against it, turning it into a source of infinite possibility rather than destruction. Commander Zix looked skeptical. And how do you propose we do that? Ilara grinned, the thrill of scientific discovery coursing through her. We'll need to create a quantum paradigm shifter. It's a theoretical device that can rewrite the fundamental laws of reality on a localized scale. If we can get close enough to the rift, we can alter the very nature of the chaos entity's existence, the curator finished, awe in its voice. What followed was a frenzy of activity that pushed the boundaries of science and magic alike. Ilara and Nova worked tirelessly, their minds melding across dimensional barriers as they constructed the impossible device. The quantum paradigm shifter took shape, a swirling vortex of energy contained within a framework of pure mathematical concepts. It hummed with power drawn from the very fabric of the multiverse. As the rift grew, threatening to tear apart the delicate fractal structure of reality, Ilara knew it was time. She turned to Nova, feeling a bittersweet echo of their first meeting years ago. Ready for one last adventure, she asked, her voice thick with emotion. Nova's energy form coalesced into a familiar humanoid shape, those starlit eyes shining with determination. Always, together, they stepped into a quantum pod, the paradigm shifter integrated into its systems. As the pod launched towards the rift, Ilara felt the weight of all existence resting on their shoulders. They plunged into the tear between realities, the laws of physics breaking down around them. The primordial chaos entity loomed before them, a being of such incomprehensible nature that Ilara's mind reeled at the sight. Now, Nova, Ilara shouted, activating the quantum paradigm shifter. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as the device engaged. The chaos entity roared, a sound that existed not in air, but in the very concept of existence itself. For a moment that stretched into eternity, Ilara felt herself coming apart at the seams, her consciousness fragmenting across infinite realities. She saw the birth and death of universes, the rise and fall of civilizations across countless dimensions. And then, with a soundless explosion that resonated across all of existence, everything changed. The rift sealed itself, but not before the chaos entity had been transformed. It became a part of the fractal structure, its infinite chaos harnessed into a source of boundless creation. As Ilara and Nova emerged from the quantum pod, they found a multiverse forever changed. The rigid boundaries between realities had softened, allowing for a flow of ideas and possibilities that had never before been possible. The curator approached them, its form now a swirling mix of order and chaos. You've done it. The quantum paradigm shift is complete. A new age of creation and exploration awaits us all. Ilara looked out at the transformed quantum nexus, marveling at the swirling patterns of reality that now danced before her eyes. She turned to Nova, whose energy form now pulsed with newfound power and purpose. So, Ilara said with a grin, What's our next impossible task? Nova's laughter echoed across dimensions. My dear Elara, we've only just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible. As they stood together, a human and a cosmic being, united by bonds stronger than the fabric of reality itself, Elara knew that their greatest adventures still lay ahead. The quantum paradigm shift had opened doors to realms of existence beyond imagination, and humanity, led by their intrepid fractal keepers, stood ready to explore the infinite wonders of the new multiversal frontier. The story of Elara and Nova, of humanity's rise from a single planet to guardians of all reality, would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. It was a tale of friendship, of courage, and of the boundless potential that exists when different species come together in the face of impossible odds. As the new era dawned, one thing was certain: the adventure of a lifetime had become the adventure of all lifetimes, across all realities, forevermore.